Okay guys, Script here with another video. So I was going to do like a long review like I normally would do with these shows and talk about details and all of this stuff. But I'm not really going to do that. I'm going to talk a little bit of details, but mostly I'm just going to kind of just be general here. I'm looking at this show right now after watching the first 2 episodes and saying to myself, none of it matters, whether it's good or bad, because what happens in episode 3 ruins everything anyway. So it kind of made it difficult for me to get motivated to make this video, to be honest with you. So I will get into a few things. Obviously, one of the big things that's really silly is this whole daggers thing and this, Sith Acolyte running around daggering people. I don't know if it's like, look, everyone, member berries, Sith daggers, like as if like Rise of Skywalker member berries are gonna like get people excited or what. But the whole thing made no sense. Trinity's character dies in the first 5 minutes. That's another thing that was really corny. So you have previews with her in them, and then you release basically the full scene of the bar scene that they're fighting, which happens right at the very beginning, and that's literally all. That's it. She dies. So it's like, you didn't save anything for the show, other than, I guess, there's potentially going to be a flashback or something. It says on IMDb she's only in 1 episode, but obviously she's in more than 1 episode. Anyway, yeah, so she gets killed by a dagger. So again, I've said in another video, so you got a Sith Acolyte or some person running around, hurting people and trying to kill you, and you don't even use your lightsaber. Like, you don't even threaten her with it. You don't even say, hey, if you keep going, bad things are going to happen to you. Here's my lightsaber, because she doesn't have a lightsaber for some unknown reason. She just has daggers. Sith daggers. Yeah, because we love those. And then she gets distracted anyway, and she gets stabbed by the dagger and dies, and I don't have a problem with that. But when you look at that in light of people like Sabine and Reva and these other characters surviving, getting run through by a lightsaber, Reva twice, and then this little 3-inch blade kills probably, the most high-end actor they've had in a Star Wars show in the first 5 minutes. It's weird, and it felt off. But it sets up the story, and so I just want to say a good thing. The aliens. There's a lot of aliens. They got creative with the aliens. They were kind of over the top a bit with some of the aliens, which is fine. They actually put aliens in this. Not like Andor that is alien-free, basically. Other than, I guess, a couple scenes. The acting is fine. I'm not going to even get into that, really, because at the end of the day, for me, the story is what really matters the most, the lore. And Stenberg is not a very good actor in this. I don't know what her acting chops are. I know she was the kid in Hunger Games, but she only had like a handful of lines in that. And in this, she's pretty crappy. I'm not gonna lie. But it's not that big of a deal, honestly. There's been bad acting in Star Wars many, many times before. The trailer is probably half of episode 1. Like 50% of the trailers are like episode 1 and episode 2. At least 50%, probably 80%. So I don't know. And then episode 3 is another big part of the trailer, and of course we know what that is. If we have done any bit of looking into this, I can't even believe it. There's a lot of innuendo in the show, which is kind of weird. You have to kind of be paying attention, but like she tells the Padawan that she's flexible in a kind of awkward way, and there's a few other times where there's some innuendo. And I think that, again, this harkens to Leslie Headland seems to be quite obsessed with sexuality and stuff, sex. And so there's some definite innuendo that felt off-putting, didn't feel very Star Warsy. The other thing too is the female Padawan that looks like Ben Shapiro. She talks down to Yord, who's a Jedi Master, twice, pretty obviously, like in a snarky tone, which again I guess speaks to like girl boss, right? We got to represent the Force is female, yay, yawn. there's in the second episode, there's a lot of expository dialogue that isn't totally necessary because you get the background story anyway pretty early on. So that part was kind of weird. And then the Jedi go to find this Torben guy who's just like been meditating for 10 years or whatever. And they go into the temple and they, I guess, didn't take a direct route to him. And somehow the good twin, because there's twins, there's a good and a bad twin. Of course, we all knew that was going to happen. Because the good twin veers off, doesn't follow them, and somehow gets to Torben first. Yes, this is a spoiler, after he dies. So they can have this scene where it looks like she killed him, but then they're like, no, I followed her, she didn't. But I'm like, how did she get to him first? And not just first, like minutes ahead of the rest of them. What did they do? Go take the scenic route? Like, it little things like that, they just didn't think about. And then, okay, you know what? I'll give you my overall sort of perspective here. In the first 2 episodes, this show is not terrible. It has some stupid stuff. The Sith dagger stuff is a little dumb. The Matrix fighting is not very Star Wars. But the plot line, just overall, how it's going, in the first 2 episodes, of course, just these 2, because again, in 3, apparently it goes into lunacy land. It isn't bad. It's a little slow. It's a little drawn out. There's, again, like I said, there's some corny lines and there's some just stuff that doesn't need to be in there. It doesn't look the best. The sets and stuff don't look great. The costumes don't look very good. But the overall story, what they're trying to present, isn't too bad. It's okay. I honestly, if episode 3 wasn't going to be what it is going to be, and we know what it's going to be with the whole pregnant lesbian thing and all, and the Force is literally going to be female, and what they're ruining basically the entire thing of Star Wars. If it was just like, hey, we're going into a 3rd episode of this murder mystery, you know what? It isn't that bad. It's not. It's fine. It's not great. It might, it's not even really good, but it's fine. I would honestly watch it. I think I'm probably not going to watch it after the 3rd episode. I'm probably not going to watch anything out of Disney, maybe ever again, if they do what they're planning on doing. So yeah, I mean, like in light of that, it's not that bad, and I mean, people are really like going after it, but like the whole flickering fire in space and stuff like that. Yes, all that stuff is kind of dumb. And yes, there was explosions in George Lucas' Star Wars in space and stuff like that, and sparks and stuff. So again, I don't get that hung up about those little things, the nitpicks. Yes, the lightsabers look a little off. Whatever. I'm more concerned with the story and the characters, and it's not bad. The main Jedi guy, the guy from Squid Game, his character's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. The Yord guy's a little goofy. The Padawan that looks like Ben Shapiro is super annoying. So that's the one character you will be annoyed with. But then maybe she's meant to be annoying, right? That's okay. Amandla Stenberg, the 2 twins. I mean, it's fine. They're somewhat interesting, but the overall story isn't bad. It's somewhat interesting as well. So I'm going to say this is a somewhat okay show after only the first 2 episodes. If I had to give it a rating, I don't know, like a 5 or 6 out of 10. And there's times when you think the Jedi are going to be super stupid and then they don't. So hopefully that means they're not going to be completely stupid in this. And actually, the villain is just really, really smart. The other thing I would say is that May, who's the bad sister, that accomplice that she has, that guy that makes the potion for her, he's the Sith Lord. It's pretty obvious. How is he on the forest planet in that scene? Because he goes with her to the forest planet, right? She tries to attack him with the knives, and he easily just blocks her and just says, no, you're not doing that. I think it's super duper obvious that he's the Sith Lord. And this is where I end this review. Again, it's just the first 2 episodes. Even if the supposed thing that happens in episode 3 doesn't happen, but this Sith is revealing himself to the Jedi. If any of them live, that breaks lore, that breaks canon lore going into the prequels. Of course, the Sith had not revealed themselves to the Jedi for 1,000 years. I'm not saying they didn't exist, I'm saying they didn't reveal themselves. So if they do, and Jedi know about it, that the only way they're going to be able to spin it is that Yoda just knows about it and doesn't do anything about it and is a loser. Which I wouldn't put past them. So there's going to be problems with this show regardless, but again, if what happens in episode 3 is true, none of it matters because it's going to be an absolute dumpster fire. Anyway, guys, that's my review. If you like this content, please like and subscribe or sub to the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell us what you think about this show, and have yourselves a really good day.